Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are watching this video, it's probably because you're interested or thinking about AccessAlly, or maybe you have been using AccessAlly for a little bit and you're curious about other people's experiences. I'm going to basically share with you a quick review and more than that, just my experience of using AccessAlly, because I recently decided to switch from using AccessAlly into Podia. Actually, I have a separate video talking about Podia and why I decided to shift and why that platform, but specifically here, I'm going to share with you why AccessAlly is not something I'm going for anymore after having been using them for years. So before we get into it, I'm curious to hear from you. Go ahead and leave a comment below and let me know if you already have been using AccessAlly or if you're just considering using it for your courses. Curious to hear where you are in your journey. And of course, make sure to do a thumbs up and subscribe so that YouTube can send you more awesome videos about how to grow your business into the next level this year. So first, I want to share with you a little bit of context about why I decided to move away from using AccessAlly as my course hosting platform. So I've been actually using them for several years, maybe 3, 4 even years. And it worked in the beginning. When I first started using AccessAlly, I really wanted a more custom solution. So I wasn't interested in the actual course hosting platforms. I wanted something where people go to my URL, my actual site. It looks super branded, it looks gorgeous, and that's what I wanted to do. So I hired someone to design this custom built members area for me, and the only thing that I knew, well, there's a lot of different plugins you could use, but AccessAlly was the best one out of all of the ones that I saw out there in terms of customization and doing a lot of things like gamification and just a lot of things that I was interested in, specifically because I was creating a course that was going to be very customized to each person. So it worked well in the beginning. I liked how it looked once it was actually designed. And by the way, I spent a lot of money on the design. It was like maybe $3,500 in addition to the software to actually make that work and everything like that. And at first I was happy with it. You know, I was like, okay, well, I wanted everybody to have a great experience. I wanted to be branded. And there were just a lot of things that I thought I needed to have to be taken seriously. And it worked fine in the beginning. Was I quickly started to notice a couple of things that were kind of annoying to me. After a while, that's literally why I decided to change, because I couldn't deal with it anymore. I was just getting way too annoyed with it. So the first problem that I had with it is that while yes, the website could be made beautiful if you hired the right developer and designer, but the problem is when you have anything custom created, especially with the frameworks that my designer used, I couldn't change anything about it without breaking it. And I really value freedom, and having to be reliant on a designer or a developer and having to have someone on retainer all the time, it just didn't make sense for me. I really didn't want to be paying someone every single month. And I did for a little bit. I was paying someone like $1,000 a month just to be on call in case I had issues with AccessAlly, or in case I wanted to have a course uploaded to AccessAlly, which is like a ton of money if you think about it, because I don't know, it's just like I could totally do it myself because I'm pretty techie. But the way that the website was designed, it was designed with the Headway theme. Just extremely complicated. I broke it several times by trying to update it myself. And also it just wasn't really that clear. I liked how it looked in the beginning, and definitely people that were first logging on when they first purchased my courses, they were kind of in awe because it's like, wow, it's a totally custom created site. I think that you're so awesome. Like a lot of people are saying how they want their courses to look like mine because of the whole experience, but they didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, which is what basically that I needed to hire someone every time I needed to make a change to how my pages look like, or anytime that, the site was getting broken, or they were like the video dimensions were kind of showing up wrong, or maybe the links were kind of broken, and I just had no idea how to set anything up. So even if I wanted to create a new course, for example, it took me a while to figure out how to do that. And I needed to be basically getting my developer hat on, which I don't have one of those hats. That's just not something that I'm good at. So yeah, it was actually quite a bit of a headache, and I spent a lot of money on getting these things figured out. And yeah, which is kind of shocking that I stayed with them for as long as I did. And again, no offense to Access, if you're watching AccessAlly, there's nothing against you. It's just that's just all me, right? I just didn't want to pay for someone to do it all for me. The second problem with it is that I needed to have a lot of additional services purchased in order to have this site really be running effectively. So I needed to have a pro subscription to Vimeo, which is a video hosting site, because I'm not going to have it on YouTube, right? Because people can really easily save it if they're like asking for a refund or even share the videos. YouTube is not an option for paid courses. So I needed to get Vimeo, which is however much a year. And that's not like a huge deal, but having to upload to Vimeo first and then grab the link and then making sure that the settings are right and then figuring out how to upload it to this WordPress site and then having somewhere else like Dropbox or something like that to host the files. Although you could host them in WordPress as well, which is what I did in the beginning, but there were just a lot of additional things that required a lot from me. Plus, in addition, of course, like you need to pay for the website hosting, you need to make sure you know how to use WordPress. It was just a lot of additional fees. And as I was shifting my business, especially right now, I'm really looking to have my business operate in as lean of a way as possible so I can scale and make way more money and be even more profitable, right? Because what's the point of making tons of money if you're spending most of it? That's not how I want to run my business. So I just wanted to like let go of like SoundCloud and Vimeo and all these other platforms. I just didn't want them to be a part of my system to get courses out there. I still use those platforms as like a backup because I do have the subscription already, but I love that I don't have to go to all these additional platforms, and it kind of lengthens out the whole system for idea, filming the video, editing the video, and then like uploading. It just shortened everything for me with the current platform I'm using. And with AccessAlly, there were just a lot of additional steps that made that whole process from idea to actually people seeing it just a lot longer. The third problem that I was having is that the integration with Infusionsoft at first, and then when I moved over to ActiveCampaign and AccessAlly, it was actually breaking a lot. It wasn't firing the right way, I guess. And it was starting to be really annoying because people would sign up for my courses, they would buy my digital products, and they would, be sent an email with login information, as that's how AccessAlly is set up when it comes to the integration. But then for 10 or maybe even 15% of the people that were signing up, when they were receiving the access email, the password field was actually completely blank. So you could imagine how much customer service headaches that brought for me, where people are now emailing me like, hey, what the heck, I didn't get the password, scam, I signed up, I paid for this thing, I'm not getting access. Like, people are getting mad, right? Because and you can imagine if you're purchasing a course and maybe you've never purchased a course or a digital product before and you're getting it and all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, where's the password? How am I supposed to access this thing? I had to respond to all the people. I had a virtual assistant do the same thing, and it needed me to actually go in the back end, have the integration be run through again, and it was just really techy and a lot of extra time that I just didn't want to spend, especially if I was paying this much for a membership, members area plugin already. The fourth reason actually still has to do with the integration, which is the tagging functionality didn't always work the same way. Like, for some reason, ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft wasn't talking to WordPress and AccessAlly as effectively as it could. So sometimes people would be going through my course and it would be getting unlocked through like a specific tagging functionality that AccessAlly has, where they say that they finished all the tasks within a lesson. The next lesson should therefore be unlocked automatically. That's how I set it up with the gamification things, but it didn't always work. I wanted a course to be super cool and like working really well. And in order for me to actually make sure that I'm having a great experience for my customers, it needs to work pretty much every single time, and it definitely didn't. And again, more customer service headaches. People are saying, hey, I did all the things you said, I don't get it, why is the next thing not unlocked? And then I was like, I don't know, what do I do? What do I shift? And I needed to go in the back end, find this user, add a tag manually into AccessAlly within WordPress. It was just like, again, more headaches, more things I just did not care for. So eventually I was like, oh my goodness, I'm over it. I just don't want to deal. So the fifth problem actually came through once I was in the process of migrating from one platform to another. And I wanted to export a whole CSV file of all the customers with the tags within WordPress so that I knew who has access to what. Because the thing is, especially within Infusionsoft, so people would purchase, they would be added to my Infusionsoft list, but then eventually I would clean the list out. And when the Infusionsoft Infusionsoft and somebody has unsubscribed, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna clean out all the unsubscribes so I don't have to pay for all the unsubscribes. Some of these people were no longer on my Infusionsoft list, but they did have access to the program, the course, within AccessAlly. And the problem is I couldn't export a CSV file of all the customers, names, emails, and what access they had to which course, which I thought was kind of weird because if it's a course platform, we should be able to easily see who has access to what just within AccessAlly. Because like I said, ActiveCampaign does not do this. So if someone unsubscribes, you don't have to clean the email list out. You can still keep those people within ActiveCampaign and not pay for them. But Infusionsoft isn't like that. So if you're using Infusionsoft, you have to pay for everybody, regardless of whether they are unsubscribed or subscribed. So it's kind of challenging because if you're looking to migrate eventually, or maybe you want to send, some other email, or maybe you just want to know who is actually subscribed to which course, and you can't do it from your email marketing software, it kind of creates a weird situation because you're like, how do I do it? And last but not least, it is kind of pricey. And I know it's not like crazy. There's definitely things that are more expensive out there, but for the issues that I personally was experiencing, I just didn't see that it was worth the money anymore. My goal is not here to trash the software. It's possible I just didn't have the resources available, like a team, to actually make it work for me. And it's possible that I just didn't see the value anymore in having my own custom site. I wanted to keep things more lean. So, you might have an amazing experience with AccessAlly. And I know a lot of people that have incredible sites, beautifully built, and they're working really, really well with AccessAlly. So again, I'm not saying that this is like everyone's gonna have issues here. I'm just saying this is why I decided to switch, because I was just like, all right, I'm over it. I don't want to do this anymore. And I wanted to keep my team as lean as possible and my expenses as lean as possible. Now, by the way, if you are curious on what software I did go to, I currently am using Podia. So I have a whole separate video about this, so you can check it out right here, and to go through why I decided to switch to Podia specifically versus the other course hosting platform. Now, it would be unfair for me to say that AccessAlly is horrible, because obviously it's not. There were a lot of great things about it. So I do want to share with you the 3 core things that I did like about it, and it's why I stayed with them for this long. And the first one is, obviously, you get to create a custom, beautiful site, right? Which is really valuable if that's what you want to create in your business. So that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a custom created site that was really beautiful, that looked branded to me, and it worked really well until it didn't. So if that's something that you're looking for, AccessAlly can potentially be a really good fit. The other thing that I really liked is they did have a lot of features included that a lot of the other course hosting platforms don't. Within AccessAlly, you can have things like gamification. You can have, you can really build it the way you want. You can have little pop-ups appear. You can have, the quizzes and certifications and just a lot of different things. And it allowed me to create a very custom created course that wouldn't be as simple as like module 1, module 2. So it did allow me to do that. And then lastly, it is definitely really good for you if you have somebody on your team to do the tech stuff, or maybe you're extremely techie. Like I mentioned, I consider myself to be fairly techie, but going in behind the scenes a lot was just not worth my time. So if you already have somebody doing this on your team, this could be just another thing that they do, and that might not be a very big deal for you. So just consider that that is something you might need to include when you're using AccessAlly or any kind of custom solution that's integrated with WordPress. A bonus thing I'll mention too is I will say that their customer service is pretty good. So anytime I would ask them questions or share some concerns that I had, they did respond to me pretty quickly, and they did address it. And obviously they were a lot better in the beginning, but as they grew, they started adding other customer service agents, which some of them weren't as helpful, if that makes sense. But not that they were unhelpful, they just weren't as helpful as they were in the beginning. Like in the beginning, they were trying to actually troubleshoot things for me. And later on, it just became a little bit less involved. And I still felt like I needed to hire someone to actually fix all these things for me, where I wanted to do it myself. So, and like I said, again, it's not a bad plugin. It works really, really well. It's just, I don't see it as a great solution for people that are looking to be as lean as possible and not spending a ton of time on actually developing the members area or doing the tweaking or updating and, that sort of thing. So it just really depends on your priorities. If you want a custom solution with your own website, your own design, I think AccessAlly is probably the way to go. But if it doesn't really matter for you how things look like, I would say it's probably not worth the headaches. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel quite yet, make sure that you do that. Hit that notification bell as well so you can be notified of all the new videos I release about how to help you grow your business online this year. Thank you so much for being here. And if you have any requests for what you want me to cover next, make sure that you let me know in the comments below as well. I'll see you in the next video.